Rents are falling for the first time in half a decade, and the house price index from Zoopla is showing some interesting shifts. So what's behind the change, and what does it mean for landlords and tenants moving forward? That's the story for today. What do these changes mean for landlords and tenants? And what does the Big Mac index mean for landlords and tenants? Okay, so key takeaways from the Zoopla report. Demand and supply. Buyer demand has increased by 13% year to year in January. Number of homes for sale has risen by 10%. And sales agreed are up by 12%. So it's a pretty dynamic market. Why is that? Stamp duty changes coming in. It's motivating a lot more people to get out there and do the spending before they pay stamp duty in the UK. Obviously, buying from overseas, we are seen as buy-to-letters, so there is no stamp duty breaks for us, even if you buy through an SPV. So house price trends. Prices have increased by 2% year on year, according to Zoopla. We've got Northern Ireland up by 7.7%. Again, before you go rushing out to Northern Ireland to buy, it's virtually impossible to get a mortgage unless you live there and work there. Although I'm sure high net worth, I think it is over 600,000, you can borrow, but it still is pretty squeaky. The Northwest, which is Manchester, Birmingham way, Manchester up to Liverpool, is 3.2% up, and the east of England in general is up 1%. So again, regional variations. London's not in there. Again, affordability is slightly improved because mortgage rates have stabilised. There was a lot of flapping about it over the last few weeks with what was going on in the budget, but hopefully rates are now starting to calm down a bit. But affordability is getting better because people are earning more money. That gets us onto inflation that we'll cover in a short while. Market forecast. House prices are expected to grow by 2.5% in 2025 according to Zoopla, with sales reaching 1.5 million. So a 5% increase in sales. Jolly good. So what does the Times tell us? Their market rental update. Rental prices outside of London have dropped by 2% for the first time in 5 years, but they're still 4.7% higher than in 2024. London's rent surge continues. Rents in London have gone up by 28% since the beginning of the pandemic. That is pretty big, 28%. There is improved rental supply in London, 13% more compared to last year. Long-term rental growth. Since March 2020, rents outside of London have gone up by 64%. Outside of London, rents have gone up by 64% since March 2020. Just under 5 years. That's phenomenal. And that's down to housing supply shortages and increased demand. What's the outlook? The rental market is still experiencing growth, but the rate of increase is slowing according to the Times, and better supply is helping out balance the market. Is it all being helped by the government and their amazing house building scheme? Not at all. Not one iota. It's the market forces doing itself. So, what about the Big Mac index? What does that tell us? The Big Mac index, if you don't know, is a measure of purchasing power parity. And basically, you look at a Big Mac in the US, which is the ground point, and they look at the costs of Big Macs all over the world, because you bear in mind, virtually every Big Mac is going to be about the same, within reason. So I laugh there because having based my time quite a lot in Malaysia, a Big Mac in Malaysia is nothing like a Big Mac in Australia or the UK. But the ingredients are very similar. It's just how they're cooked and what the local people's appetite like. It's an indication of what's going on in the economy, and over the last 3 years the UK has gone up from number 12 on the Big Mac index to number 5. Okay, at the top of the table are people like Switzerland, because it's a super expensive place to live because incomes are very high, and that's really the reason, because incomes are high, so it'll bear it. But in the UK it's a different thing. The UK is a mixture of the pound being weak, so that's forcing up the cost of ingredients. Inflation post-Brexit is meaning there's supply chain issues, there's the cost of living going up, and basically it just indicates that the UK economy is in a poor location. Now what I suggest over May is that you go along to the Economist Big Mac Index articles on the internet and have a look at it, because it's really good reading and it shows how the UK is in a very parlous state and needs to fix itself. People then say to me, well, why should I buy property in the UK on the back of that? Well, yes, because we're not buying for today, we're not buying for tomorrow, we're buying for your mortgage to be paid off in 15 years' time by a lovely tenant. And they're a lovely tenant because you've looked after them. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for short-term gains. If you are looking for short-term gains, like buy and flip, you're in the wrong market. Go somewhere else and do it, because the UK won't give you that at the moment unless you are a super specialist, very clever person at doing that sort of thing. Big Mac Index indicates the UK is in trouble. Have a look at it. It's great reading. Over and above that, rents are falling. That's good. Okay, makes things more affordable, but it's still a huge shortage of supply. On top of that, Zoopla are saying that market is looking quite buoyant. There's more coming onto the market. What happens post-March, post-April? when the stamp duty changes come into place, I don't really know, but they believe that it's going to be carrying on to move upwards. So that's really the market wrap for this week. Short and sweet. I wanted to go some of the points, some of the great questions or comments that we've had this week. And he's a lovely gentleman, lovely man, lovely. Okay, a guy called Cobbler40, lovely man. I'm surprised nobody tires of this horrible old man. That's me, horrible old man. Lovely. But nice things from Tony Party. Don't listen to Cobbler40. He's talking a load of cobblers himself. Keep up the good work. Some interesting comments though. With the financial crisis around the corner, house prices will be back to pre-COVID levels. This crisis will be on steroids compared to global financial crisis. The UK is finished and is about to experience a severe recession. Anyone who understands history will know economies work in cycles. That's from Pluto661. Thank you. It's a good valid point. In property, we have the 18-year cycle. All economies are similar. You had boom bust on many occasions. Has COVID changed that? Probably not. But COVID was a black swan event, and that really has broken a lot of those preconceptions. Is the UK going to have house prices crash? I don't believe so, no, because the underlying fundamentals of shortage of housing, massive immigration, no one's building, I don't think that'll happen. But anyway, thank you very much, Pluto, for putting your opinion across. Please do comment on that. Chris F9M30, the unrest in the world has put BAE on steroids. All the towns around this huge company, property prices are rock climbing rapidly. I take it it's, British aerospace. Okay, so British aerospace is on steroids. All the towns around this huge company are climbing rapidly. Barrow in Furness, Cumbria is leading the way. Price growth is exceptional. Yields off the scale. It's true. I saw that in the Telegraph last week, and it's the top 5 places to buy this week. Top 5 places to buy were Barrow, Darlington, Durham, those sort of places. I agree to a certain extent. You're right. It fits in with what we call our population growth, infrastructure growth, employment growth mantra when we talk about buying property. And that's correct. But you look at what else has Cumbria got? Not a lot. It hasn't got big infrastructure projects. It hasn't got booming, and you may criticise me for this, and I don't mind. Feel free. It hasn't got a booming university situation. Durham University. I once did a comparison between Durham University and Reading prices have gone up tenfold compared to Durham. Why is that? Reading was in a very similar position 20 years ago, in a small commuter educational location. Now, because it's become brought along by that corridor, by the infrastructure, by the whole London growth thing, it's gone through the roof. Durham had the same situation, but has not got the same infrastructure or employment or population growth. So although it is a good place to buy because it's cheap, what do we know about it? Unless you live in Durham, or you have people who can help you buy in Durham, or the same with Barrow in Furness, how do we do that? You need local knowledge. And as people buying from the other side of the world, that's a big ask. Sometimes you just have to rely on the professionals to do it. And we put ourselves on that class, despite Cobbler saying I'm a stupid old man. Oh, horrible old man. Thanks, buddy. I have been doing this for 30 odd years, and I know a little bit about it. So what I'd suggest is, if you can't buy where you know and you have a personal interest in it, buy where all the directions are saying it's going to go up, and that's what we try and focus on. And we've seen that from the Zoopla report that the Manchester and Northwest are going up. Manchester, because HS2 is going there. HS2 Light will be built. It's a positive thing. There's a lot of positive stuff going in Manchester. Although I'd have thought 12 years on it would have finished by now, because when BBC first went there, Salford Quays, it started booming and it hasn't stopped since. Quite amazing. So there we go. Final one is my man investing. A bad location eventually becomes a good location. Question is, are you in it for the short, medium or long term? I bought 3 properties in Liverpool in 2009. They've almost all doubled in value. Similar 4 in Dundee. Nowhere at a time, but now are 68% higher in value. Also, low value properties most likely to increase. Unprecedented demand. Some lenders consider taking up to 6 times salary. Work from home. Freer to move out and more so. It's cheaper to take out a mortgage than to pay rent. So no, I don't agree with the current best properties or area. Spot on. There are no specialist areas. Dundee, we bought a lot of property in Dundee. It's a fantastic rental location. The yields there are up 8 to 10%. Capital appreciation, you've done really well if you've got that, because we found our cap appreciation basically doesn't get there. You have to halve the rental yield and put that onto the cap which means you're getting a fairly mediocre part of both of it. Liverpool, again, if you know it, great. It's a smorgasbord. You've got great locations next to really rough locations. I'm sure Liverpool, lovely people, please don't criticise me for that. It's just a case of what do you know? What do you have the time to do? And if you have the time to do it, well done. So good work there, my manifesting 5 days ago. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you very much. From the Horrible Old Man, do take care. Look at the Big Mac Index. It's really interesting reading. Log on to Zoopla, follow that. Get the Times on a regular basis for their property updates. And don't forget to register for a copy of our new 10 Steps book. It's great. We've got heaps of people taking it and they're finding it really motivational. Cheers. Bye-bye.